I was heartbroken and betrayed by an older man who cheated on me while I was fighting cancer. Now, years later, I'm about to face him again. Here's what I'm planning to do. When I was 21, I dated a guy who was too old for me. Kevin was 37, an older student in my university program. I'd just gotten out of a bad relationship and thought Kevin was great. Of course, there were red flags all over the place, but I was so naive back then that stupid me didn't question this. Kevin and I dated for 6 months. He quickly told me that he loved me and asked me, pretty aggressively, to move to his home city to be with him after graduation. Great, right? Still ignoring the red flags. Except in my last semester, I was diagnosed with cancer, and my world kind of fell apart after that. The day I got my diagnosis, Kevin made out with another woman at a party in front of me, and I left the party in tears. He broke up with me that night by email, saying that we weren't a good fit anymore because of my impending medical emergency, that he was only with me because he took pity on me after the end of my previous abusive relationship. And by the way, all our friends thought I was annoying, and no one liked me. I felt punched in the gut. My memories of that week are a blur. I had to drop out in the middle of the semester and get a medical leave of absence with the university. In the meantime, Kevin would follow me around campus, demanding to know why I wouldn't talk to him and that I forgive him. I remember looking at him like he was insane. "So you're apologizing for what you did?" I asked. "Of course not. I didn't do anything wrong," he answered. "But it's not fair that you're angry at me like this." I told him to go to hell and just focused on getting my paperwork squared away and moving back home for what became a lot of chemo. Honestly, this period of my life was a fucking nightmare, and I don't like thinking about it. I became suicidal and was diagnosed with depression, so I was seeing a psychiatrist while getting chemo. I lost most of my friends because I guess people didn't know how to deal with my illness. A few stuck by me, and those people are not only still my friends today, but now I even work with some of them. In the months after I left school, Kevin would badger me over text, saying he didn't know what happened between us and demanding again that I forgive him. I was in the middle of more chemo, so I told him I forgave him just so he'd leave me alone. As soon as I forgave him, he vanished, and I never heard from him again. I blocked him on Facebook just to be sure he couldn't slink back. Later that year, between chemo, I ran into this strange woman at a university event off campus. I've never met her before. I have no idea who she is. A bunch of students and alumni are having dinner together, and she's talking about her fiancé. Guess who it is? Kevin, of course. I'm confused because a few months of dating is a short time to get to know someone before you get engaged. But what do I know, since Kevin was very fast in telling me he loved me and asking me to move in with him. But when I ask how long they've been together, she says something crazy like 3 years. At this point, I'm in total shock and realize Kevin was having an affair with me, that our whole time together was a lie. I had no idea. I left in a daze and cried in the parking lot. In hindsight, I should have warned this woman, but at the time I was in shock, sick, not interested in starting drama at a table full of strangers, and I was exhausted. I thought later of finding her on Facebook, but I didn't know her name, and I worried telling her would start another round of harassment from Kevin, so I dropped it. So the good news is, I'm obviously still here and happily in remission. 2 years after leaving school, I finally felt human again and went back to finish my degree. By then I was doing really good, made new friends, finished therapy, started my career. Life is totally different now. I'm well known in my field and have been invited back to my university as a guest of honor. My professors want me to speak to the students, and I'll have a chance to network with other visiting alumni who are a big deal in my industry. It's an amazing opportunity, and I was looking forward to it. Only problem is, I saw Kevin's on the guest list, and so is a woman sharing his last name who I assume is his now wife. When I saw it, my heart sank. The guest list is small, maybe 50 alumni, so we're bound to run into each other. I can't not go because this event is important and I already promised I'd be there. Plus, I don't want to avoid doing things out of fear of running into this asshole from my past. How do I handle running into Kevin again? Do I treat him like a stranger? What if he tries hugging me like we're old friends? It's something he would do. I also have no clue if I should say something to his wife. I don't want to open this can of worms from my past. I'm losing sleep over this and don't know what to do. Got cheated on by an older guy in college. He broke up with me over email and then harassed me for months. I later found out he was dating someone else while we were together. I may run into him soon. How do I handle this? Relevant comments as follows. One user said, I'd treat him like a stranger. If he acknowledges you, keep a blank, empty smile like you would give a total stranger who seems to think they know you. When he reminds you who he is, oh gosh, I didn't even recognize you. It's been so long. And then if he tries to initiate any conversation beyond that, you shut him down. Sorry, I really don't have time to talk, as you turn and walk away. If he tries to initiate physical contact, you block it and say firmly no. Do your best to keep other people around you at all times. Have a witness in case anything happens. But otherwise, pretend that he doesn't even exist. Either he was going through a very awkward time when you dated and he is a better person now, or he's still as batshit crazy as ever. If he's better, he'll appreciate being treated like a stranger, because he'll also be uncomfortable. If he's still crazy, you lower the risk of inviting, in his crazy brain, more contact from him. Plus, I think it's nice to people like this a little bit of, our relationship had so little impact on me that I have to be reminded of your existence. Post author replied, if he's still crazy, you lower the risk of inviting, in his crazy brain, more contact from him. Good point. I blocked him on FB long ago, but just to make sure I blocked his email address just now. I deleted his number long ago, so I can't block it as I don't even remember it anymore. Another once said, you don't give him any attention, and you certainly don't approach the girlfriend, although you would like to share a few things. Post author replied, the idea of approaching his wife gives me hives. The last thing I want to do is open this Pandora's box. I feel bad for her, though. Another user said, I very briefly dated a guy who I later found out was cheating on his GF with me. I didn't have any way to let her know, unfortunately, and I was in a rough patch and didn't want the drama, so I just ghosted the dude. But he continually stalked me. On Messenger, on the phone. He cried at me in messages to take pity on him, to hang out with him, even though he still had a girlfriend. The guy then called me for 2 years on my phone, never leaving messages. Some people are just crazy. One more person replied that, my theory is that guys like this actually do feel a tiny bit of guilt. Either that or someone else did something that makes them feel guilty. However, their self-image can't take them being the bad guy, so they have to make sure that the person they fucked over forgives them. The mix of that, plus their anger at no longer getting attention from the woman they want, means they become absolutely obsessed with more contact. They selfishly pursue their own sense of closure over any kind of decency. Previous user responded to the above said comment that it makes sense. I heard from other people we had mutually known that he still was interested in me and interested in pursuing something, but also never admitted about his GF, and as far as I knew, intended to stay with her. They were together for a few years, fess. He basically just treated me like shit too, invited me over, then kicked me out after an hour or whatever when he was ready to get back to gaming. It just boggled my mind. When he contacted me through Messenger once, I had it open and didn't realize. I told him I was not interested in being someone's side piece, and it was insulting to me. He gave himself a pity party about, come on, I don't make friends easy, blah blah, like as if that ever excused any of his behavior. I iced him out, but again, he called nearly daily for 2 straight years. It was a terrible situationship, but I was in a rough place at the time. It was when I was a teenager, so I didn't really understand red flags at the time. Another user said that I dated a guy off and on. We broke up constantly because he was toxic and alternated love bombing and pissing me off on purpose. In my late teens, and after the final for real this time breakup, I blocked his number. A year or so later, I cleaned out my block list and he called that very good day. Oh, I thought you were just grounded. JFC. Dude, you called my number daily for more than 18 months after I'd clearly and definitively ended things? Some people really are that crazy. previous user responded again saying, speaking of that, at the same place I worked with the douchebag guy was the boss, who was engaged to a woman he was with for 5 years. This guy was in his mid-30s, most employees were teens or early 20s. He kept saying that when he was married he'd stop fooling around. But in the meantime, used that opportunity to sexually harass the female employees, including myself, and would have sex with other female employees in the back room, or pressure/coerce them into things. He was a grade A dirtbag. The shit guys like him got away with in the 2000s is nuts. I hope his fiancée dumped him and GameStop fired him. One more user said, "Oh meow. He sounds a lot like a guy I dated in college. He cheated on me by banging a friend of ours in the next room over. I heard everything, walls were thin, but I was over the relationship by that point, so didn't care enough to stop them. Treated me like crap in general. And I found out from a mutual friend that he's still referring to me as the one who got away. My guy, it's been 20 years. Get over it. We were together for a little over a year, Telio. It's not like this was a particularly long-term relationship. He also kept trying to get in touch with my parents after we broke up to give them gifts he made. Like what? And they finally told him to please fuck off into the sunset and leave them alone. Lol. May these kinds of relationships never ever find us again. Update to the story after few months. Original post author said, "Well, thanks for your feedback, guys. Wanted to give you an update. So something I failed to mention in my last post is that my mom used to teach at my alma mater before she recently retired. She didn't know about my brief relationship with Kevin years ago. After writing my post, I decided to share with her everything that happened. Mom immediately got this weird look on her face and said she knew exactly who I was talking about because she used to teach in my department. She said, "I don't think Kevin will be a problem for you." When I asked why, she said, "Trust me, you'll see. That guy is kind of a loser." So I went to the event, and it was amazing. I took some of the advice here and brought a girlfriend so I would never be alone in case Kevin tried to pull something. I met a bunch of alumni and ran into a couple people who I lost touch with when I got sick. Everybody were thrilled to hear how well I'm doing, and my speech got an ovation when I was done. Anyway, Kevin showed up with his wife. I don't know how to say this without sounding mean, but he's gotten fat and is going bald. I was surprised at how old he looked until someone told me he's almost 50 now, which means he lied to me when we were dating and said he was younger than he really was. Also, I heard from old classmates that Kevin is still studying for his degree, plus working nights as a security guard now. Kevin was the only person at the event who avoided me. It was obvious. I thought he was going to avoid me all night until I accidentally found myself alone for 30 seconds, which is when he nervously approached me to congratulate me. I smiled, said thanks, and kept moving. He tried cracking a dumb joke to me later, but I just ignored him, which seemed to frustrate him. Overall, I just spent the night focused on the people around me and forgot he existed. Interestingly, he managed to repeatedly piss off a bunch of people, including his wife and one of the deans, throughout the night with stupid comments. It got so bad that people started a running joke about what an insensitive moron Kevin was. I'm so glad I went and didn't allow one jerk from my past to make me hide. I had a great time and was surprised at how unafraid I felt when I saw Kevin again. The memories from that time of my life were so traumatic, but now he's just some jackass I once knew. I'm not sure now WTF I ever saw in him or why I was ever scared of him. Oh, and by the way, I recently started a great new job that came with a big raise, which means I'll have my student loans paid off this year. Life is good. Thanks for your help. Have you ever had to face someone from your past who hurt you? Share your experience in the comments and let us know how you handled it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories.